Welcome to a first look of The Wandering Village, releasing the 14th of December on Steam in Early Access. The Wandering Village is a city building simulation game on the back of a giant wandering creature. Build your settlement and form a symbiotic relationship with the Colossus. Will you survive together in this hostile yet beautiful post-apocalyptic world contaminated by poisonous plant? This first look video will be condensing 3 to 4 hours of gameplay and into 25 minutes so that you can see how the game plays and how to actually play the game in a somewhat efficient manner. And based on that, you can just make your own decision on whether you think this is something that's worth playing or not. And then at the end of the video, I will be sharing just my own thoughts about it. If you like these kind of first look videos and want to see more of them, then like the videos to give me that indication that it's something you want to see more of. And of course, if you want to see more and keep up to date, then it is of course a good idea to subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into the game.
Driven from our homes by the toxic spores, we kept wandering, looking for shelter. But not in our wildest dreams did we imagine what we would find.
And so we find ourselves in the game. We're going to be starting here. This is it has a very distinct art style where the landscape is kind of 2.5D, but these little dupes here are just basically like cardboard cutouts. I like it. What we're going to do, you can see that we have a lot of different options for building. What I'm going to start doing is just assign them all to do some harvesting. But these spikes, for example, if we do that, we will actually hurt the creature that we are on top of. We're going to start by just building some very basic things. We are not on top of the creature, and then when we have some interaction with the actual creature, we are going to take a look at how that works. But right now, it's all just very, very basic in terms of getting started on a city builder. So that means we need to chop down some trees, we need to mine some stones, and then we need to start building the first location. The first thing we need is a bit of tents, so we can have them to some place for them to sleep. There is sort of a bit of a happiness involved in this, and if they don't have their necessary needs met, such as a good place to stay and some food, then they're going to be performing worse. The next thing we want to do is we want to make this worker post. It's kind of a bit of a different thing. The worker post here is actually allowing you to specialize some of your workers to do specific tasks, such as harvesting, building, or carrying. And that when they are assigned, they should get a small bonus to this. I don't really think that I see that bonus particularly clearly, but you know, let's do that whenever we can. We will then be doing some material storage, so we can store the materials we are collecting so that they will get in here. We'll also need to make some water tanks, some pantries, and just so we can store all the stuff. Right now we don't have water solved. We basically get the water from the air. And that will be the next thing. We also want to get them food. Food is here a berry gatherer. We're going to be trying to put it in somewhere where we can get as high efficiency as possible. We can get up to 94% efficiency, and they will actually make more berry farms around it anyway. We'll want 2 of these, and so it's just a matter of finding the other parts. So you can see everything right now is super basic. It's setting down some things with getting food, getting sleeping, storage, harvesting materials. Those are all just very, very basic things in terms of what you can expect from a city builder. And that is kind of one of the things that we can also take a look at. Now that we have the berry farms online, you can see that we assign some locations here. You can see that they are unemployed, employed and unemployed. We have 2 employed as for the worker post, and we have 2 employed in the berry farms. We will take the 2 in here and assign them as builders, so we know that we always have 2 of them assigned to building. Then we're going to be taking a look at the water part, so we get that up and running. Here we built some water tanks so we can store the water, and we of course make our city blocks, because if you didn't make city blocks, you wouldn't know what channel you were looking at. And then of course we need to get the water somehow. And this is some air wells. They just extract moisture from the air. Luckily, they do not take any resources in here, so they are just automatically gathering water. So that's really nice. We of course need to build nodes of storage. So build more of them than you need, because there will be droughts, there will be deserts, that kind of thing. Now we have the envoy starts sleeping, but now it gets up, and that getting up is kind of crazy. So here we have The view, this is the second view we can take. We can interact with it through the hornblower, through a doctor, or through a feeder. This is the third view, and this is sort of out in the world where we can see Onbu is moving along the lines. Here you will move along the path, and then when there will be intersections, you should have the opportunity to choose the direction, so you can kind of avoid the hardest locations. What we can also say is that all out there we have some scavenging posts, and that's kind of one of the most important things to get, is getting the scavenging out there so we can out scavenge, find more stuff. Research wise, we've built a little research tree, and this is the research tree. There are 3 different categories: village, resources, and Onbu. And this is the depth of the tech tree. I am assuming that this is because it's early access and that more will be added, because it is not very deep. It is, you can easily get just in, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours, you will have uncovered pretty much the entire tech tree. So that's, I'm assuming there's more. First thing we want to go for is the kitchen, and we want to get for the kitchen because that opens the scavenger hut, and I believe the scavenger hut is the most important thing. Then we have the research building, and then we can now see that we also have 2 people assigned to the research building. One of the key points that you will find out is that you have to do everything you can to get more people, because it's so difficult. They don't breed, you just have to find them out in the world, and therefore it's really difficult to get more. So if you find some nomads along the way, that is super helpful. And you will always, and even more always, take them, because if they die off for whatever reason, you can't. They don't breed, so you just have to find them out on the map, and you need more. You need so many here, and it's one of those things where I think the balance has been. They need some kind of building to attract people to get in here. Because I'm looking for it. I'm doing everything I can to get my scavenger hut up. I'm focusing, prioritizing getting those up, and it's still a challenge. We're now going to be constructing the farms here, and because, well, we can also farming, and we've built some kitchens to match the farms. This is just a really convenient way for me to do it, so that we can make the farm and then have the kitchen that is cooking the corresponding thing and right next to it. We have one farm for close to the berries that will be doing the berry food, which is making it more effective. You can see that these use wood planks and stone slabs, which is not something we have at this point. So we are going to have to build those. That's just sort of a refinement process for that, and that also goes. Yeah, that's the kitchen. So it's not actually what we want to get the first. So we want to get the farms because we can easily eat those, but we need to get a carpenter and a stone cutter. Those are the 2 refinement resources. You can see that of those mines, like right here left of where we are, that mine is something we can tap, but it requires a research, and that research requires that we find some knowledge, and knowledge is something you can only find if you find a shrine out on the map. And for this playthrough, I'm just not finding any shrines, so I don't get access to the good the giant tree stumps and the mines. It's problematic. Now that we have the first farm available, then we can start making an area where we can do some farming. We can select. The only thing we have in the beginning is beets, so we make a little beet farm around here. We get some more research, and what we're going to do is we are going to do the hornblower. Yes, we're doing the hornblower. Oh, right, that's because we actually got the scavenger hut already researched. So now we can see that we've reached the location where Onbu is tired. Up here, right below the portrait, you can see that it has 3 little circles there. We have the sleepiness. When it goes high, then it falls asleep. And we also have food and the poisons. So those are the things we have to manage by just interacting with Onbu to make sure that it stays safe. As we continue, the most highest priority is getting those 2 sorted, and then we'll also just look through all of these things. There are some things we can build that we don't want to build at this moment, because simply put, we only have 11, we only have 19 resources, 19, I want to call them dupes, but 19 villages, and we need more. So here we built a scavenger hut. This scavenger hut is this priority. It also needs wood planks and stone slabs, and this is where I would recommend going for the first stone slabs and wood planks in there. So we need those 2 buildings done. That means we just fast forward a bit and just have a look at our little city here. We've now come into a cold snap on the map, and that's just something that happens once in a while. You can see out here on the map, we still don't have the scavenger post, so we cannot send expeditions out. but we are looking at the impact of the cold snap is here. You can see the temperature. Now it's only 60% growth. The beets are pretty resistant to coldness. Other things would start decomposing or start degrading very quickly. The scavenger hunt is in progress, and we just need to let that finish. Here we go. We are getting the scavenger hunt finished. The scavenger hunt is, I think this is one of the most important buildings to get up and running as fast as possible. So focus on that. So you can get this. You can see the world is in the background. It's just moving slowly along. It looks really nice. And there we go. We are going to get this fully staffed somehow. So that means we need to find somewhere else that we can unassign someone. We are now up to 21 villagers. With the 21 villagers, they will start demanding better food. That means they really want kitchens to be in effect for this part. So this is going to be the next part, is us focusing on the kitchens. I'll just be reassigning this. This is one of the things that I find that you have to do quite a lot, because you will never have enough villagers. So you will need to reassign them consistently. So now, for example, here I'm going to send them to a settlement, because settlement has a chance of giving us some extra recruits, extra villagers, and we want as many villagers as possible so we can keep growing. One of the things about this game is that there are no there's no upkeep, in the sense that you don't sort of have to pay something to keep going. Yes, you will need food and water generally, but you can build as many buildings as you like, and if a building that doesn't do anything, it doesn't like take electricity or any other resource, so that's kind of nice. We're now coming into a short heat wave, and we've managed to get ourselves into the desert. That means things are hot, arid, and that just has an impact here. Hot, the temperature is hot, the humidity is arid. That means our air wells are not really producing anything at this point, so we're going to have to rely on our storage. We have 461 water, so we should be good. Also, the beets don't work very well in the heat, so we really like to get something, some better materials here. And for example, cactus. Cactus is a good way to get water. They actually don't produce food; they produce water, so that's a good way if you are roaming around in the desert to have some cactus farms. You can also just have a giant cactus farm and just disable it when you don't need it. Right, so that was the heat wave. Now we need to focus on better food, because this is the kitchen. The kitchen should be coming online shortly, and then we can start converting the berries. Also, when you convert food in, then you can see here 10% food quality. They are all 21. They require 2 good food at a time, and we don't have any good food, so we need those kitchens up and running. But I guess I would always prefer to get the scavenger hut up first, and then deal with minus 10% productivity as it is. So we get the kitchen up and running, and the kitchen will also convert, I think it's 3 berries into 5 food. So that's already also getting more food for free. Berry muesli. Okay, yeah, 3 to 5. So we get more of this, and we were going to have to assign 2 of our villagers to get this. So you can start seeing the problem now, that we are just absolutely desperately needing more people in here. We have 21, and we can't fill up all of our stuff, because we also need to go out and harvest and do all of those things. And let's see, the scavenger here is coming back. That is pretty good. We want to see this. And also the hornblower is a way that we can sort of blow the horn and interact with Onbu, at least supposedly, and also use it to direct it to go either left or right when we get to an intersection. So now we get the first scavenger hut up through here, and we get a little ping because there's an interaction. And this is basically, there are some settlers, do you want to pick them up? The answer is always yes. We get 5 more coming into our village. That is going to be super helpful. We will immediately send them out to another location, for example a ruined settlement. There can be all sorts of things. A few desperate survivors or leftover food can be found there. Even though we're in the desert, we have plenty of food, so there's no reason to go to the oasis at this point. That's obviously a place where you can get that. So we are now making the kitchen. Kitchen is working great and converting all the berries. The beets are just being eaten raw. That can't be nice. And we can see that our food quality debuff is now getting better. But now because we are up to 26, they now require better housing as well. So we now need to build huts. Huts are also better to resist weather like tornadoes and earthquakes if those happen. But on the other hand, they need more stone slabs and stuff like that. So we have a location here we can see that it will sleep in the desert. and that's where we can, for example, use the hornblower to tell it to move on instead, supposedly at least. We're going to be finishing on this one, and what do we get out of it? Another choice, and we have more. You basically can't really get too many. I haven't been able to get too many of here because, again, there's not really any upkeep. You just need to get some food for them, and food and water is dirt cheap. We now have the hornblower going, and we now have some different options here. We can walk, run, lie down, and we can get more commands as well. We could actually just send it out to go out, for example. Now that we have a few more resources, a few more villages, a 28, it's time to get some new tech involved, and this is a mycologist. A mycologist is basically a farmer for mushrooms. This needs to be placed on the dirt, and we also want a herbalist as well. Herbalist is used for, well, making herbs, and herbs are used for medicine for Onbu and medicine for our villagers as well. So that's basically the things that we want to do in the next things here. So we have the herbalist. We're going to make one of those, and we are going to plant an area like this. Actually, that takes up some of the space that I don't want to have. There we go. So we just have a small location here for the herbalist to go working on. We'll just have a single one that's going to go there. And now we actually marked one of those spines for deconstruction, but luckily they are so inept that they don't actually deconstruct it anytime soon. We're still, the kitchens are now we have the issue here of how we're going to man everything. We got an old kitchen, and this one is going to make the beets and no space for planting. The reason why we don't have space for planting is that they're just not growing because the temperature is too high where we're in the desert. Let's continue on our research journey here and get the village doctor. Village doctor is something you want to have it before you need it, so we're gonna get it. There is a lot of poison in this world. That's kind of the whole plant here. Is the whole planet is poisoned. We're now making corn. Corn is really good in the desert and doesn't require much water, so let's plant some corn as well. And then the kitchen nearby will be working on making the corn into polenta as well. The mycologist, we will also set that up for farming, so you can see that we are building all of these technologies just gradually here. The mushrooms are used for food for Onbu, and that's pretty much about it. That's basically how we make sure that we feed Onbu. So here is a crossroad. That the crossroad is something that if we have the hornblower enabled, then we can actually blow the horn and tell Onbu to go away. And here is the thing that I am less impressed about. I have a hornblower. I haven't done anything to make him not like me. Sure, I haven't petted and fed him or anything, but he just refuses to do whatever you ask him to, and that's kind of annoying. That the whole idea is that you have like on top of this giant that you interact with, and then when you try to interact with it, nothing happens. I think that's a bit I don't know. It hasn't worked for me yet to get any interaction with Onbu, with the hornblower. He just ignores my commands all the time. That means you can't control the direction he goes, and that's it seems like a weird choice that you want to have a function, and the function seems so integral to the marketing of the game, and then it just doesn't do anything. It does work if you have a Twitch integration, but I guess not a lot of people will be playing this with a Twitch integration online. We have now we're just sending more out here. It's just a good way to get extra resources. You probably can build more of these, but then you're short on resources as well. Here we have another location we're going to be trying again and it just says don't trust. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to see if we can win his trust, and that is there's a few things that we can do there, and let's look at some research. For example, it's a possibility. We get a hornblower. That's how we can interact with it. But Onbu interaction. Now we have the Onbu kitchen, so maybe if we feed him, he'll be happy. So we just place it here next to it as well. Oh, we got some more things. It's an old machine that turns on. Yeah, let's do that. It actually is going to be. So some of these times you get some random events. We got 16 stone slabs. That is really nice to get, and that helps us a lot. And we're now in a heat wave, which is going to be making everything just a little bit more tricky. There, we just send out here, because if we can get free stone slabs, that would be really nice. And the research buildings, they are just continuing to research, and we are now getting the Onbu kitchen. So if we can get the Onbu kitchen, we can maybe feed Onbu, then hopefully we can gain his trust so we can start interacting more with Onbu here. Then we are going back into more problems of how do we get more people in, because we're still stuck at 27, 27 here. So we still have to be working around, just managing people back and forth. Here's the Onbu feeding trebuchet. This is something you need because not only do you need to make the food, but you also have to throw the food out to Onbu. So that's what we're working on, getting that one. So there's a few things here, and then we sort of go through the normal motions of going out in the world or on this plateau to clean out stuff, to manage the resources, reallocate them back and forth because we just don't have enough. And remember, in this playthrough, I am going deliberately out of my way to try to get as many as possible. And it still doesn't work. We'll try again. We haven't fed him, so it's the command is the same. It doesn't trust us. So we would really like to go into the green area because there's also nomads on the road. But that is unfortunately not really our choice anymore. You can also see up below the icon that it's starting to get hungry. Onbu is getting hungry, so we need to find a way to solve that. Also, the sleepiness is increasing as well. Onbu yawns. So we can actually have it potentially lying down if we wanted to sleep here. Probably not a good idea. We want to get a bit out of the way for some of these things. But we can also just hope that it chooses randomly to go south instead of that. So now we're sending to a settlement because that could be a good way for us to get more in here. And those are poisoned nomads. And we'll have to wait until we get new command. There's not much we can do about this location. We can just hope that it goes the way we want it. But it needs to go to sleep soon, and it needs to get some food. We are still desperately working on this as we go here. So the interaction with Onbu leaves a bit to be desired, and that's kind of one of the things that we really want to look at. So what we can do is we can get sleep command. If you see that little 1 next to it, that means we need a knowledge, and we just don't have knowledge because the scavengers haven't been able to find any shrines, and that's the only way to get knowledge. So we now make this is the Onbu doctor. There's a little balloon here, and we managed to get more. Oh, look at that. They are healthy and hungry. Fine. We don't care if they're healthy and hungry. We can take care of it and get them in here. So now we're up to 32. That's great. So we can actually get more people in here and more working on our farms and all that stuff. We're now freezing, so our beets are not really working very great. But decided that it was a great place to fall asleep. Lovely. And we'll try again to see if we can get you to go south. Nope, still not. We haven't fed you that, so that's still granted. That's not really ready yet. And we are going through our farms. Everything looks good. The colony is working great. We haven't seen any big poison things yet, so that's also lucky. We will get some of that not too long, shortly. So 20 mushrooms gives 1 Onbu food, and now we have a few Onbu food up here too. And what we can do is, well, we can't feed it because it's lying down. It's pretty hungry. It's also sleepiness 43. But if we could actually just wake it up. Let's wake it up, because there is a sleep area nearby if you want to go there. So let's just wakey, rise and shine. And once it's up and running, then we can actually feed it. And that just takes a while because they need to sort of find the food and get it ready and stuff like that. So it's just on preparing. It takes quite a bit. So here's the trebuchet. And there we go. It actually sent it out to set to it up. So now we actually fed it. We can see here it's up to 81% hunger. That means basically from now on we have to be responsible for feeding Onbu with the mushrooms we're farming. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just one more thing that we have to take care of in our little base here. So now it's down to 61. So every feeding is taking 20% off. We're going to be feeding it again, and there comes another food. It's not a lot of food that we're actually giving it. And it's luckily chose the right path, so we're going into the green area. That's super nice. We get some poison nomads, but that's okay. We don't mind some poison nomads for this. Here we have the doctor. Let's we can now do some interactions. That we can pet Onbu. Hey, let's do that. The thing is, one of the things I feel is acutely missing is that we can see the poison, we can see the food, we can see the sleepiness of Onbu. There should be a 4th dial that says trust, because right now we have no idea. And it's really annoying to try to interact with Onbu and then just not really knowing if it has any impact. So for example, now we interacted. That's awesome, and we have now petted. So we should be becoming better friends, right? But we don't know sort of the measure. We don't know if we have to do that 100 times, 10 times, 1 time, or if it's never going to work because there is no progress bar for trust. We don't know how much we need in order for it to trust our commands. All we know is we're still not there. We have now also done a compost, so we have some compost that we can get in here. So whatever we want to farm faster, we can put some compost in here. The compost comes from the dung that we are collecting as well at the back of Onbu. That's how it goes. And we are just slowly building this. We don't need the Onbu kitchen to work all the time. It can work faster than the mycologist can farm them. But we do have 2 foods, so we can just have to keep on going with this part. And again, always just take out the stuff. Here we go. We have new excursions, and again we are looking for a shrine, but we are not finding any shrines anywhere, so we'll just send it out. We can actually, if you're diligent on your scavenger, you can pretty much scavenge everything that's available around you. We get some random huts increased, that's good, and we can then start decreasing some of the other things. If we look up here, we can see that housing quality is good, and oh, that was a short part. We also have a few people that are poisoned. It's probably the scavengers that get poisoned from being out in the world. That's what usually happens. And you just need to make sure that you can actually heal them up when they come home. Here we have the village doctor. We are ready to go with the village doctor. We have quite a few that's gotten poisoned now. Because I think it's because it's lying down in a... Yeah, you can see behind it. It says high under poison. And that's because it's lying down in the poisoned area. So now the poison seeps up because we're now closer to ground. And then we have someone who's badly poisoned. And if they don't get cured from the badly poisoned, then they will die. Gradually, we are decreasing the poison by having 2 doctors run around and curing them. So this is what I mean by you must have the doctor before you need it. We are scavenging out here. And we are very close to the Onbu sleeping spot. No, that's the sleeping spot. It's the Onbu feeding spot we're very close to. But it has decided to lie down and sleep at this point. We could just pick it up and get it moving forward. Maybe. Yeah, get up. There we go. So it'll go over to just over here to the feeding area. We'll just look at the trebuchet. We could shoot it here, but it is actually just the area that is right below us here. This is the part that it's going to eat, so we don't need to feed it. It will, this time it'll be feeding itself. And it stops and decides to go eat itself. And it says Onbu eats. Perfect. And the scavenging is complete from the settlement. And we get the opportunity to get more settlers. Absolutely. Always, always, always. 5 more settlers. We're now up to 42. This is good because you need it. And then it means we can actually have a lot of things that we can have active at any given time. And then we can start scaling up our base as well. Now, one of the things that is like important to highlight, that we're up to 42. That's good. It's not really a problem food-wise. We can just make some more farms. That's not really a big deal. But there are a few techs that we don't have and don't really get access to, and that is iron and glass. Now, iron and glass, the only thing that I can see that they do is that they are actually... oh, here we go. We have someone badly hurt, so we're going to wait for the doctor to come in. The only thing that glass and iron is actually doing currently, and I'm thinking this is because it is early access, then that enables a few of the buildings. So you just need a very small amount to enable some of the last buildings, like a scout tower, for example. Aside from that, it doesn't really have any purpose aside from this. So there we go. The doctor just came over and healed them. They are now good to go, and we can then send them out to more excursions, an oasis or a quarry. We'll probably get a... oh, we also have another settlement. That could be good, right? We'll take a quarry first. And then we'll go out, and you can see that this is basically that we are getting to sort of the point where we can recognize the loop. As we go further, we'll get into more dangerous terrain. And the reason why it gets more dangerous is is because, yeah, as you can see here, we are now coming into a poison cloud that's coming close to us. And there we go, that's now the poison cloud. This poison cloud is lightly poisoned air, slight toxicity increase. We can cure the poison for Onbu, or we can feed it. It's not really very high, the poison. If the poison bar fills up, then it dies, and that's not great. But the poison cloud is also just spreading poison all over our location here. And this is where things can go from bad to worse. This is a contaminator. We haven't built that building yet, but we want to scale it up. So these things start getting poisoned, and what happens if the reproduction, then they spread to something else. And you have to just be absolutely diligent on, you need to assign so many resources. Like basically everyone should be on duty to kill the infestation before it spreads. If it gets out of control, you will suddenly have, like you can see this infection bar here increases, but if that infects another one, then there are 2 that can infect, and then they can infect 4 and 8 and so on and so forth, anything nearby. And it goes it's quite overwhelming how fast that goes. If you have contaminators, oh look at that sneaky little one that was hiding. If you have contaminators, they will go around and burning it. That's what you might have seen in the trailer for the game, that they go around burning the infestation. But since we don't have that, we are going to be just having all of our normal harvesters going around here and sorting that. Looks like we are getting it under control. We're just diligently running around here. If this is one of those things that if you focus on it immediately, then it's not a problem. But if you just have a bit of a lapse or forget about it or miss it or miss something, then suddenly you have like 10-20 trees that are spreading. So this is super incredibly dangerous, and something that is, this is the real danger of the game. So there's no real, if you really look at it, there's no enemies. The enemy is sort of keeping things alive, and now we're luckily out of that poison area. And poison tree is done. And that was the last of the dangers here. And as Onbu is wandering through the poison cloud, let me share my own thoughts about this. Well, first the goods, the nice graphics, nice artistic style. It performs really well, and there are no bugs that we've discovered. For an early access, I would rather see a stable but smaller game and then add more features than to see a big game that's full of bugs. So that is correct. Now, with that said, it does lack a lot of depth in terms of gameplay, both in terms of how deep or lack of depth in the tech tree. There's basically 6 hours and you unlocked everything, basically, I think. And it also just plays extremely sort of vanilla in terms of a city builder. The whole interaction with the Onbu isn't really that engaging, and it doesn't really add anything. It's just farms, housing, that kind of thing. I hope that will be something they'll take a look at. Also, in terms of balancing, we didn't find any shrines. That means that half the tech was just completely inaccessible to us in this playthrough. The fact that you absolutely 100% must focus all of your attention to get more people is it's kind of unfortunate as well. And there's just a lot of time. This is cut down from 4 hours of gameplay into half an hour. And I was looking at it, and it was just a lot of waiting and just fidgeting around with reassigning, micromanaging of reassignment of villages between tasks. So all in all, a fun little game, but I'm missing some depth in order for me to take a further look at it. But you can be the judge yourself. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos of this kind, first looks or other strategy, simulation and factory games, then be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.